everbullish.substack.com. This is the post from Monday, making the video here today on Tuesday because tomorrow is Big Trade Wednesday, right? So our institutional trading, our most accurate market pricing, in my opinion, a little bit of the secret sauce here at Ever Bullish. And here's another piece of the program. Basically, it's important that every week we go over what happened last week and the previous, kind of up to a month, 2 months, to let us know where the market is, what we think is going on. We have to have a hypothesis. What are we going to base it on? And what do we notice? So I spent some time explaining that here, and then just a shot at the news. This is Monday news, right? So Monday news, as you'll notice, is always typically pretty compressed. There's not a lot going on. We have a baseball or a football rather here, and there's some other articles, but a lot of what we're seeing is that there's some risk in the market. We have some flashes that have not been seen since the .com bubble. Tell me about it. We've been seeing them for the last 8 years and probably longer. So I'm not even particularly perturbed by that. We have some anti-social media news, some lottery news. So this is what I just call like a total ho-hum day. There's nothing going on. And again, that's probably because Mondays and Fridays, as I've mentioned, are inside secret, are just not particularly reliable on the actual movements of the market and typically the news of the market either. I will take note about this. The Fed's hammock, more than one rate hike will be needed to curb inflation. No shit, right? We've been saying that forever. They've been trying to move down when the real thing to do is to move up in interest rates to slow down the economy that is just, it's dying, but the market is out of control. So what do, right? So we have that from the news and economic standpoint. I always like to show a market map. This is Monday's market map. Again, this is what a Monday market map is going to look like. This trades on both sides of the sectors were roughly even, 45 to 55 or 44 to 55 and a half. But so we basically just have a flat market. None of these are in the deep red, the bright pink. Like, what do we have? Like 0.4% down, 0.09% down. This is a day when you'd expect the winners to win or be flat and the losers to be down a little bit. So you have the top end of the market pulling things up. We see it here with Micron, Palantir, and Micron again is on the trending stocks. We had gold and silver jump up. I have a client of mine who is a real stud at predicting commodities, and he sent me a nice ticket of a nice trade that he cashed out on in gold and silver. So that's in the back of my mind as well. Feel free to look at those if you're interested. And down to a different market map here. So here's just a better map in my mind, which is like what's on the main watch list of, and this isn't me. This is like, I picked out what I believe the retail investors are going to be looking at. So I have like a triple up and a triple down on the NASDAQ. We have the S&P 500. We have MicroStrategies. Obviously you can see what's here. And again, it like I said, it's like spread out is basically a flat market. Notice there's no giant movers at all. There's really hardly any moving at all. But the VIX volatility index up there in the right corner, that is up a bit. When you see a 2% move on a VIX, since that's involving levered products and futures based on bets on the market, when it's up 2 or down 2, that's flat. If once you start seeing that at 13% or 15% or 20% or even more on other sides, that's when we need to take a look at something and know that there's going to be some big time movements coming. I have Berkshire on here, steady as she goes. It's worth $793,000. Think about that. You know, Buffett built that and it came out at $10. Bitcoin, and just noticeably, the Bitcoin was up just a tiny bit. And then here's all the international futures as well. So again, Christmas tree, red and green. Oops. Red and green across the way. Hopefully y'all are still with me. So we're just looking at a flat market. We're looking at a flat coming out Monday. Friday was pretty flat. SpaceX and my trade idea were leveled. And fortunately, hopefully we got to stop it on those. But Thursday was a big, massive day. And now we're moving on to this week. So, by the way, talking SpaceX, if you haven't read the previous article I sent on the same day, go to the Substack, everbullish.substack.com, read it, and it tells you exactly how to get out of that trade, which ended up happening today. So, energy's being a top performer. What does that mean, guys? So now we're looking at the sector summaries here. This is something we do every week. With energy, healthcare, materials, what are those things? Those are like the three top defensive, meaning bad market thriving sectors, right? And then at the very bottom, you can almost always guarantee if energy and healthcare are at the top. We can see that real estate and utilities are at the very bottom. Information technology was the one that I was searching for. You can count on that being down on days that energy and healthcare are up. So that's our tech play, right? That's the big stocks that everybody's making money in. How do we know when we're going to get into them and get out of them, and when we're safe in them or need to tighten those limits very tightly? Opposite for the week before. So this is kind of one of those things where, okay, it's Monday. Last week, the information technology was the highest performer. Energy and materials were both up there, so kind of weird, kind of like an obscure that kind of tells us what happened last week, which is what? It's that the information technology sector just absolutely ran up due to one instance with SpaceX, right? So the biggest stock in the world. So kind of helps us understand a piece of that. It just means we're in a tepid environment right now. I'm not counting tech or energy or healthcare out. This means we're going to be like looking at the whole spectrum in the trades that I have this week. And going on with the 6 month, again, tech, kind of the same deal, kind of this like war is the reason for the energy going up, right? And energy staying up. We have a trade or had a trade on that, and we've doubled both of our, not doubled, but we've made double digits in both trades in the energy sectors when we had them, and then let them limit out. So financials is kind of a nice surprise, but the 6 month trend is what we always look at, right? Because the 6 month trend, the trend is your friend. Rule number 3 at Ever Bullish. And rule number 5 is that trends last longer than you'd think, meaning that they can last stupid long. And we're in the middle of one of those, 8, 9 years, stupid long runs of tech. So, of course, when our trades come out, there's very, very likely to be some tech in there. And we'll just have to decide what kind and what stock in what sector, as well as potentially playing the opposite for um, for some balance and for some short-term hedging, make money on both and get out, right? That's the goal. Commodities bulls, energy's been climbing up. Crude oil rather has been climbing up. So this is we're almost at 80 here. We were at 68 last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, before we put on the oil trade that made us all that money. Everyone bulls. And then again, mentioned metals. These are the futures, so they are a tiny bit different than what I showed above. But what we're seeing here is that they're both, and this is kind of interesting. So 40,000 for 4,000 rather for gold is kind of this threshold. Think about it how we like round numbers, right? You're on the 50-yard line, you're not on the 53rd yard line. Same thing with the big numbers in the commodities. You can notice that once this drops below 39, if it were to 39.99, it's more likely to drop below that than it is to go back up. So think about these little breakpoints in the middle. Silver's a weird one. Some people have made money in the last couple of years. We did 4 or 5 years ago, but staying away for now. Silver is just a weird one. It's more economically resistant than gold, because who's going to get to for $60, right? Versus, hey, I've got all this gold, I want to scrap it, or I even have this thing that's made of gold, like a computer or a Rolex or whatever it may be, and I'm going to not take it for the share of the computer that it is, or value it based on computer, but then value it based on the gold that will come out of it. And oftentimes it's higher. Catalytic converters. Anybody live near the meth heads? So you have all that down here. There's copper for those guys. Top cryptos, again, we mentioned this, but Bitcoin, rule it ever bullish if you're new. The only things I look at are Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't care, don't want to care, don't mean to trade any of the others. In the future, I'm bringing on a guy that's a guru with cryptos to ride my audience here. But personal rules, man, I can make more money in a stock with better prediction and ideas, and I can have stop limits on it, and I can do that a lot better than just the seemingly wild bouncing and moving and lack of trend that has come up in cryptos over the last couple of years. Before that, cool. Trends were a lot easier to see and they would stay. So trends lasted longer than I thought, but now they've been gone for a while. And if they start coming back, we'll start exploring that. And I am bringing on an entire, other analyst to help us with crypto going forward. You'll meet him soon. Update on the open trades. So AXON, Axon, we suggested that on Friday. It was up 7.5% yesterday. So meaning Monday. Today it was up 3.5%, 4.5%. So we've already made our 11, 12% on that trade. Let's hear it. That's not a very common thing to be able to do, especially with a non-leveraged stock, but we do it all the time. So there's still time to get into this. If you didn't get in yet, just do it on a down day. And then for the holders of this, I just say put a very small, like 1 or 2% trailing stop limit order on it. That way you bought it here, you made 7% one day, you made 4% the next day, you're at 11, and you can just put a -1 trail on it, meaning that if it goes down, it'll sell and you keep your 10%. If it goes up, you continue ratcheting up with it. Most common sense thing anybody could ever do, but I would say that over 90% of traders, if I had to guess, wouldn't do that. And almost 0% of retail traders, just because I've seen it. Um, again, the SpaceX down ETF, this was printed yesterday, so it's showing up. But that one we got out of using this plan if you are following. And if you're still holding it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it just may be a month or two before you get your money back. NVDL, the leveraged NVIDIA, we made over 25% on. WTIU, we made over 20% on. ORCX, I've been propping that one from the clients that sent me nice messages and proof of return on that one. You guys saw them, 36, 38%. And all of the other trades are closed out. PLTZ was a big loser. But that's a big reminder to always keep these limits on them. Let's start it. It used to be 10%, and then I took them off. So let's just say everything we buy, immediately after we buy it, put a limit on that position. I'm going to do 15% because I don't like getting whipsawed. I also don't have a problem getting right back in, though. So if you don't look at your accounts very often, and this is more of a long-term, or let's say medium-term thing, because none of this is long-term. You could either tighten that limit to be even shorter, like 2%, but you're going to miss a lot of the kind of down and then ups that come later in the day and be out of your stock at a loss, a menial loss, but a loss. So again, I'm pounding it into you guys. I stopped for a while, and I even stopped on my own for a while with some of the more certain trades. Sorry about this. Just one moment. Yeah, there we go. And that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Keep your eyes out. We'll talk about those sectors. We'll pick the best stocks from those sectors, and it's very likely that either tomorrow or the next day, I'm gonna be sending out the trades for this week, and let's all start making some money. And damn it, if you haven't, please go subscribe as a paid supporter at everbullish.substack.com. We're really doing it. We're making some pretty noteworthy things happen over here. I want to make you money. I want to get you rich. I want to show you profits are actually like attainable, whereas the rest of the market tells you that they're not. Every mutual fund company, every private equity, of course, they're going to tell you you're not, but it is possible. And I'm one of the best, and I want to give my information away to y'all. The only thing I ask in return is the small fee, and most importantly in my mind is just to get some recognition for the skill, because it's taken 20 plus years and millions of dollars to earn. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. You can go log in and check out my vision board. I know these are corny, but I still want you guys to be able to get to know me as we grow in a business together. And let's kick some ass. That's it, guys. Let's go make some money.